The girl shoved a harmonica into her mouth, intending to perform a trick for her live stream audience, but like a light bulb, it was easy to put in and hard to take out. Firefighters quickly arrived on the scene. Unable to speak, the girl communicated by playing the harmonica, with her friend translating.
She doesn't understand how she could get it in but not out.
It'd be best to go to the hospital, but her friend explained they had no insurance or money for an ambulance or hospital stay. Understanding her situation, the firefighters brought lubricant and pliers to forcefully remove the harmonica. To keep the girl from moving, a firefighter held her head steady. Despite this, the girl continued complaining to her 8 live stream viewers. The firefighters didn't stop her and used the moment to warn viewers not to put random things in their mouths. After some effort, they successfully removed the harmonica, though it would take time for her face to recover. A man made himself a pumpkin head, but got his head stuck inside. The firefighters held back their laughter and tried to help, but the pumpkin was firmly stuck. They tried using oil around his neck, but it didn't work. The man yelled that his neck hurt. They then noticed a rash on his neck, likely from a bacterial infection or an allergy. They quickly asked how long ago the pumpkin was bought. The woman said about a month. The firefighters immediately realized the pumpkin must have rotted inside, breeding bacteria. Seeing his neck so swollen, his face was probably puffed up like a pumpkin. The man suddenly started thrashing around and fell to the floor. They guessed he might have inhaled some bits of pumpkin. They had to use a chainsaw to cut the pumpkin open. After rescuing the man, they immediately suctioned out the pumpkin from his airway. The man was breathing again. He joked about how dumb he was to nearly be killed by a pumpkin.
That's okay. Do this job long enough, you see people get hurt in much dumber ways. I think I dislocated my shoulder.
Dispatch, we're gonna need an additional RA unit.
The landlord came over to collect the rent, but what was waiting for her was a tiger. The woman barely made it to the bathroom and called the police, reporting she was under attack. The dispatcher asked if the attacker was still in the house.
Yes, it's in the other room.
It?
It's a tiger.
When the firefighters arrived, the woman was already losing a lot of blood. They decided to have one firefighter rappel from above and try to tranquilize the tiger. The firefighter descended to the correct floor.
Here, kitty, kitty, kitty. I don't see anything.
You sure you're on the right floor, Tim?
Whoa!
The woman, losing too much blood, started hallucinating, thinking someone was knocking on the door.
No, don't. Damn it.
He's down! He's down!
No pets.
A boy's upper body was twisted 180 degrees with his chest and ass on the same plane. Just now, he was knocked flying by a few football players. Firefighters quickly used a neck brace and straps to stabilize him, carefully placing him on a stretcher. The mother nearby worried if her son might be paralyzed. They tested his reflexes by stimulating his foot. Luckily, he responded. His hands and arms showed movement, suggesting no major spinal injury. But before they even reached the ambulance, the boy suddenly fell unconscious. His blood pressure plummeted, indicating possible internal bleeding. They sped toward the hospital, but with Los Angeles traffic, the nearest one was at least 12 minutes away. Realizing the boy might not make it in time, the paramedics decided to perform a high-risk arterial blockage procedure right there in the bumpy fire truck.
How'd that go for you?
50-50. Oh, Tim, you gotta keep it steady.
Sorry, guys, I'm doing my best.
Okay, got it. Now here's the tricky part.
Eddie, his pulse is barely registering.
BP's back, and so is our boy!
Dad?
Gonna be okay, kid.
To enjoy a free journey, a man sneaked onto a train but unexpectedly encountered a derailment.
What the hell?
The fire brigade rushed to the scene, facing scattered train cars, and the captain immediately felt the pressure. Currently, they could only extinguish fires while searching for survivors. Team members rescued the train driver. Medical personnel found that although the driver had no heartbeat due to choking, it wasn't due to smoke inhalation. The firefighters immediately performed defibrillation.
All right, everybody, clear. Nothing. Going again. Clear. Oh!
The man suddenly sat up and spat out a piece of bread. Could it be that the driver choked while eating, leading to operational mistakes causing the accident? The driver mentioned there was a propane tank on the train that could easily explode at high temperatures. However, a reckless journalist, determined to get a scoop, disregarded warnings and entered the scene. The reckless journalist, desperate to grab the headline, ignored the firefighters' warnings and insisted on breaking into the derailment site, claiming the public had the right to know. Unable to enter from the front, she and her cameraman prepared to sneak in through a side path. A team member discovered a small car trapped under one of the train cars. As the probe was inserted deeper, the car's driver appeared on the screen. There wasn't time to wait for a crane. A small-framed firefighter volunteered to crawl in and rescue the man. A female colleague sent him off with a good luck kiss. He crawled into the hole, found the man, and sawed off the steering wheel that was trapping his leg.
We got it, baby. Okay, his legs are free.
But suddenly, the man passed out. His chest showed bruising and swelling, and the veins on his neck were bulging. The medic suspected he had fluid around his heart. With no surgical experience, the firefighter had to follow instructions and act as an impromptu surgeon on the spot. A firefighter with no surgical experience had to follow instructions and act as a makeshift surgeon on the spot. It sounded simple. Insert a needle in the right spot and drain the fluid around the heart. But if he inserted it too shallow, it wouldn't save the man, too deep, and it would pierce the heart. The medic instructed him to find the space between the 4th and 5th ribs and insert the needle at a 45-degree angle. Without a strong mental state, he might not even be able to hold the needle steady. Luckily, under the medic's experienced guidance, he carefully advanced the needle, watching for signs of fluid, step by step. With everyone working together, the man finally regained consciousness.
Thank you for giving my dad back.
Meanwhile, the situation with the propane tank car wasn't looking good. The fire hose suddenly ran out of water. The supply line from the hydrant had burst, and the water from the fire truck alone wasn't enough. The firefighters had to retreat immediately.